If you've read my book or been to any of our seminars, you know how Kathy and I teach that there are lies stored in our emotional baggage which shape our personality and deceive us into believing things about ourselves. So you can imagine how embarrassed I was a few weeks ago when I discovered that I was actually the victim of a deceiving lie myself. You see, for about the past 6 years, there was a certain part of my life that I was really discouraged about. Nothing ever seemed to improve. I just became sort of hopeless and faithless that anything could ever improve in that area of my life. And I became a half-empty glass kind of person. And so even when I tried to be optimistic about that part of my life, I kept being reminded that nothing had changed, nothing will ever change, and why bother being hopeful? Well, a couple of months ago, one of you sent me a book that described the power of spirits of deception to keep lies active and keep us trapped in lies and deception. Well, of course, I knew all that. I teach that all the time. But when I came to the part of the book where it described the symptoms of being under a deception, believing lies, it precisely described that part of my life that I was so discouraged about. Well, my first response was, wow, that's me. Then, overwhelming embarrassment. It was very embarrassing to actually be suffering with the symptoms of the problem you teach about. And my next response was anger. I was angry that I had lived for so many years under a deception that I didn't have to. So I did the prayers in the book, and it just set me free. It was like I walked out of a prison. Or it was another way, I was thinking that it was like for the past 6 years, I've had a bag over my head that I couldn't see optimism or hope. All I could see was negativity and hopelessness. And this bag just came ripping off my head when I did the prayers. I've been a different person since then. My perspective has changed. Now I can see the truth, and I regret all those years I spent wallowing in negativity. But I learned how subtle deception is, and how many parts of our life could be under deception, even though other parts of our life are completely free. In fact, even the problem of fear is also a deception, because spirits of deception activate lies that tell us something terrible is going to happen or it's hopeless, and it gives us an illusion of risk and fear. So deceiving spirits are pervasive, and you need to ask God to show you, are there areas of your life that are under a deception because you're believing a lie? So to live a transformed life, you need to give God permission to expose area of deception so you can walk to freedom. And remember, Steve Backlund, sometime back when I was interviewing him on this blog, he said so clearly, it was so helpful, that in any area of your life where you feel hopeless, it means in that area you're believing a lie. And wherever you're believing a lie, a spirit of deception can keep it active and huge. So now I want to hear from you. Has that ever happened to you? How has God exposed area of deception in your life, and what was the result? Just leave your comments in the box below. And if this is your first visit here, you need to get my free self-assessment guide. And to do that, just subscribe to my weekly email newsletter by filling out the subscription form, which is always, you know, right there. And I'll talk to you again next week, but this week, give God permission to expose areas of deception.